Hi everybody, I'm DangerMcD of The Goat's Ghost, and I have been doing a series on YouTube with my daughter who goes by the gamer tag McTwilight, called McTwilight's Big Adventure. And we're up to episode 4 now, and we've had a few younger viewers as well as some parents asking us some questions about Minecraft, about how to set it up, some of the how you get started questions once you're in the game, what's the difference between creative and survival, and how to set those up. So I thought I'd do a short tutorial series. This was actually supposed to be covered in our first episode, but McTwilight is 8 years old, and she kind of hits the ground running. So I thought it would be better if I do this separately. I actually asked her if she wanted to help, and she's like, no, that's good. Tutorials aren't as exciting for her to do. So I'm going to do it with you. Our first episode is just going to cover how to basically set up the game, the differences between creative and survival, and kind of navigating you around some of the very basic things, as well as a peek at creative. And then our second episode is going to cover your first day of Minecraft in survival mode and the basics of surviving that. So if you already know the super basics of just setting up the game and which game mode you want to choose, and skins and worlds and the settings that you can use, I would say skip ahead to the second episode. Otherwise, we're going to get going here. So, important note, we're playing on the Xbox One edition, which is virtually identical to all of the other console editions in the way that it interfaces. I mean, sure, the buttons are different between controllers, but the practice of it is basically the same. The PC version and the mobile versions are very different. The mobile version is, of course, all touch, and then it has different features slightly than the console and PC versions. The PC version, the crafting system, is much more specific, and I'll talk to you about that when we get there. Probably in the second video, actually. So what we're talking about here as far as setting up the game, it's pretty much applicable to all editions of Minecraft. When you're setting up a new world, you can go over to Create, and your first option is always Create New World. You can play the tutorial. If you're watching a tutorial, you might consider playing this tutorial. But if that's one way to help learn about the game, obviously, but if this is another way to learn about the game, and you can sit and watch with us. All of these worlds here, Halloween and Greek mythology and festive, at least half of these McTwilight and I purchased off of Xbox Live. And if you are in the PC version, there's a much more complicated way of finding different worlds and different skin packs. We're just going to go up to here to create new world. But these different worlds down here have an actual base world that's already been created for you. And different themes. And so for world name, we're just going to go to new world. And for game mode, we're going to decide between creative and survival. Now, the difference between these two is that survival is you start the game with absolutely nothing, and if you want to build anything or create anything, everything that you need to do, all the ingredients of that you need to acquire through digging or punching trees, or it'll make sense, or gathering of some kind, all the base materials for you to build with, and those are limited resources that you accumulate. If you are in creative mode, however, you have unlimited resources at your disposal and can build whatever you want. So if the style of game that you're looking for is you just want to build like crazy and let your imagination run wild without any limitations other than the basic mechanics of the game, then I would say to start a creative world. Not only can you have all of those resources at a whim, but you can also fly around, and we'll take a quick look at that. In survival, though, not only are the resources limited, but there are also, if you have it set to easy, normal, or hard, monsters in the world who can attack you and kill you. You have health, you have hunger, and those are different ways that you can survive in the game. In creative, you are invulnerable and can't take any harm, and even if you put monsters in your world, then they don't attack you because there's no point, because you're invulnerable. So for difficulty, we have peaceful. Even if you're in survival, you can still have a peaceful map. One last important note about survival and creative, which you'll see when we start a creative map, is that you can't get any achievements in a creative map. If you ever switch over to creative, then it eliminates the possibility for achievements, because you can just do whatever you want to create the conditions of succeeding at that achievement. So if you're going to get any achievements or trophies, or you pick your platform's method of rewards, then you're going to have to do a map in survival. However, you can still put it on peaceful and have no monsters in survival. And if I remember correctly, then you also don't lose health, or you can get hit and hurt, but you regenerate health really quickly, and you don't get hungry at all. Easy means a few monsters, and they're not so tough. Normal is the normal amount of monsters as determined by the creators of Minecraft, and hard is a whole ton of monsters, and they're really dangerous. We're going to start a creative map. We're going to let's go to normal, so at least we can see some monsters if we want to. Texture packs. These are, as you can see on the bottom right as I cycle through these are just different ways to change the look of all of the blocks in the game. Again, just like the worlds, most of these were either purchased or given to us free through the Xbox Live Marketplace. Now it's the Microsoft Store. And if you had a PC, there are ways to get those online. If I can give you some advice, if you're a young person who really wants to get a lot of custom maps and skins online and you're using a computer, please have a grown-up with you, because there are a lot of websites online that do a really good job of tricking you into downloading viruses to your computer and doing bad things to your computer. So even though I'm sure you're really awesome at using a computer at this age, you should probably still have a grown-up with you to just kind of see who's trying to trick you and who's not, because it's very easy, and there are a lot of people out there who try to infect people's computers with Minecraft maps. So just make sure it's all going through an antivirus program and it's coming from a semi-reputable source. But Microsoft and all of its all of the creators of Minecraft, now they would prefer that you purchase these through the various stores. The only problem with that is, as much as I prefer the Xbox version of playing the game, there are very, very, very few texture packs and very few worlds available. So there's some limiting factor there. Online game. If you have an Xbox Live account, Xbox Live Gold account, then you can go online and play with friends. If you don't have that account, then you don't have to worry about this button, but this is an option about whether or not you want friends to be able to join you or not from online. More options. Seed for the world generator is when you create a world. You can see, we're going to go to this land. You can see third line down here, the seed is a really long number. That was the number and the template randomly generated to create that world initially. And then I built it and changed it and did a whole bunch of things. But if I wanted that same world again, then I would copy that number down and input that seed. World size is how many maps large. That'll make sense in a minute. Classic is, if I remember correctly, 1 map. This is 3x3, this is 4x4, and this is 5x5. So 25 areas in total. Generate structures, as you can see on the right. When enabled, structures such as villages and strongholds will generate in the world. You probably want to do that because it adds interesting adventures. Bonus chest, I've never tried this, so I don't actually know what's in the chest, but if you want, you can start around with useful items in there at your spawn point when you first start. Super flat world. Twilight and I are also building a map right now, a hide-and-seek map called The Enchanted Kingdom. We thought, well, we're building it from scratch, so why don't we make it a super flat world, and that way it's a template and we can just do whatever we want with it. The problem with that is that the super flat world is only 2 or 3 bricks above bedrock, and bedrock is the bottom layer of the map that's impenetrable, indestructible, and it means that you can't dig down more than a couple of blocks before you can't dig down anymore. So we basically accidentally eliminated the ability to dig any tunnels or do any underground dungeons or anything like that because we made it a super flat world. If you're doing something that you know is largely just going to be on the surface, then great. But if you want to create a world where you want to dig down a bit, even if you just want to be able to create some kind of mechanisms and systems underneath base ground level, if you do it in a super flat world, you're gonna have to build all that ground all up, and that can be a lot of extra time. Customize super flat. We're not gonna worry about that. Disable autosave. So about autosave. For those of you who have been watching our series already, you haven't seen episode 5 yet. In between episode 4 and 5, something really unfortunate happened. And we could have avoided the repercussions of it if we had had autosave turned off. Autosave automatically saves your work in progress in the world nonstop. But if you fall into some lava, or you lose all your stuff, then or you get killed, or for whatever reason, then that gets saved too. So if you want to avoid some of those repercussions and be able to go back to a point where everything was fine, then I would suggest to disable autosave and then save manually frequently. The good thing about autosave is if there is a power failure or your computer freezes up and you've done all this work and you haven't saved in a long time, then you'll have lost all that work. So that's why autosave is a good thing. But for our purposes, usually we don't. You can go other game options, include a whole bunch of things that, including daylight cycle and weather cycle, but we're not going to worry about those today. Just so you know, mob refers to monsters and, well, basically any creature in the game who isn't you. So we're going to start this world. We're in creative. See, if you create, load, or save a world in creative mode, that world will have achievements and leaderboard updates disabled, even if it is then loaded in survival mode. Are you sure you want to continue? Okay. So your spawn area that it's loading right now is the spot where you initially appear in the map. If you ever die for whatever reason, you will always respawn back in that specific location on the map. Unless you can build yourself a bed, and then if you sleep in that bed successfully overnight, which skips ahead to the day, then that'll mean you can create that as your new respawn point, so you don't have to start here, for instance. Now, this is creative mode, though. So, you'll notice this is my quick select inventory at the bottom here, and above it, there is nothing. There's just this little empty bar. We start the game with only a map, which is something that's good about the Xbox version. That doesn't happen in the PC version. And you equip the map, and then look down at it, press the left trigger, and now you can see where you are in the world. That's me. That's a me. So I'm looking around. And the basic way the world works is, to a certain extent, as far as direction is concerned, just like real life. Up is north. The sun rises in the east, and it sets in the west. So if you don't have your map for whatever reason, then you can just kind of check where the sun is in the sky if you've got a general idea of where you are in the cycle, and that'll help point you in the right direction. Because remember, north, east, south, west, or never eat shredded wheat. Although shredded wheat can be quite delicious and you should eat it, but it's a good way to remember the acronym. So other important things, the day to night cycle, the day is 10 minutes, the night is 10 minutes. So you only have, when you first start the map in survival, you only have 10 minutes to survive, essentially. But this is creative. This is your personal inventory. Here is your helmet, chest piece, pants, shoes, and in here that you could put on if I had them. In fact, because it's creative, we can. Let's be humble and get some leather armor. So just in the inventory, this is how you can put things on, and now you can see that I'm wearing stuff. And when you hit X, this is your access to all of the different blocks in the game. There's your building blocks. There is your decoration for lights and windows and wool, which is a really colorful way to build stuff. They now also have colored stained glass and carpet and panes of glass. Signage you can do, and webs, redstone and teleportation. So we'll get into redstone much later on, or not teleportation, transportation, mine carts, etc. Basic materials, which you shouldn't need because these all basically help build things that are the end product of things that you can just select anyways. Food, tools, weapons, and armor. We have wooden swords, shovels. Swords are self-explanatory. Shovels for digging dirt or clay or sand. Pickaxes for digging through stone or hard stuff. Axes for cutting through wood, which isn't just trees. It can also be wooden fences or doors or crafting tables. And then there's a hoe that you can use to till the ground for farming. And as you use each of these different kinds of material, so we have a wooden sword, a stone sword, etc., they are stronger, they're more effective. You can see here this does +4 attack damage, +5, +6. Then not only are they more effective, but they also last longer. Also, if you're digging with things like a wooden shovel, that will dig through dirt and shovels will dig through pretty much just the same thing. There isn't such thing as dirt that's too hard. But for pickaxes, a wooden pickaxe will only dig through stone and coal. If you want to dig through iron blocks, then you're going to get iron, you're going to need a stone pickaxe. If you're going to dig through gold to get gold and diamond, then you're going to need an iron pickaxe. Stone pickaxes can also get you redstone, if I remember correctly. Potions. And then a whole bunch of miscellaneous stuff. Chests and crafting tables and a furnace. So this is all in creative. And the last thing that I'm going to show you really quickly as far as this inventory is concerned is that you can also in creative... where's a villager? Oh, there's a blaze. And... donkey, squid, chicken, cow, sheep, pig. Where's the villagers? Villager. You can also spawn creatures. Okay, so skeletons and zombies catch on fire during the day. Sorry about that, buddy. Yeah, I know, he's running for the water because if they can get in the shade or in the water, then they don't die. Zombie, same thing's gonna happen to him. Slimes. Ghasts. Oh, I've never seen these in the regular world. Oh, those are terrifying. Okay. Blaze. Villager. I wonder if he gets attacked by any of these guys. Apparently not. In creative. In creative, because you have unlimited materials, you'll see I just put one block of emerald here, and I can place it here, and you see I don't have any kind of numbers that dwindle down. I can build as many as I want. You can also, as you're moving around, you can also fly. You can press A to move up. You can press down on the right joystick button to move down. And when either you're on the ground or you fly, and sorry, you double tap to fly or turn it off again. If you press forward twice, you move really fast. Whoosh. This is me not moving fast. So for creative, play to your heart's content. Use all the materials you can. Have a really great time. I'd encourage you to start your first few maps in either the standard Minecraft texture pack or the natural texture pack, so you guys can kind of get a feel for what everything originally looks like, and then start playing with the other texture packs if you want to change the look of things so that you can play around. It'll make things easier for you. So that is creative. That's the super basics of the game. You're very scary looking. And next episode we'll talk more about surviving the first day in survival mode and the basics of that and crafting. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all later. Bye. Oh, I didn't mean to hit him. I'm gonna give you friends in return. Okay, have fun, everybody.